My dad notices him from behind the bench. Like dad was probably coaching first or something. He knows him looking up in this tree. Like now he was that kid. He was just like the kid that just wasn't paying attention to the game. You know what I mean? He butterflies.
I know Robert Kellogg. I'll call him out right now if you're listening. Robert Kellogg blew our championship game. Lazy fly ball out to right field. He runs to center field. The ball goes down the line. I'll never forget it. I cried.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kellogg. So I know exactly. So anyway, so he's looking up in the tree. He's got his glove, and his glove's like, one of those gloves is like probably 2-3 sizes too big.
It's a softball 16-inch glove.
It's a softball outfielder glove, and he's like 6. He's 9, 10, whatever.
Flapping.
And and he's got a ball, and he's just tossing it, catching it, tossing it, catching it. He's looking up in this tree, and he sees a bird nest. Okay. We're boys, like, see a target, hit the target. Except this kid can't hit a target. He can't hit it. So he's gonna probably throw the ball into traffic, cause an accident. Like scary deal. And he's sitting there. Meanwhile, there's a little league game going on out here. Parents cheering, blah blah blah. Grabs the ball, looks at this nest. Throws a laser, knocks the nest out of the tree. And there was just this group of like Greenpeace moms.
Oh no.
Who were like starting to just lambaste this kid. You're murdering those birds. They go across they are yelling at this kid. He's like starting to shrink down. My dad gets fired up. My dad's like coaching first. The game's going on. He kind of like just slows that whole thing down. And he's like, hey, that kid hasn't hit anything that he has aimed at all year. And he put his mind to something and knocked it out of the tree. He's like, grab your glove, get out there and play shortstop. And like, meanwhile, these gals are going like nuts. They're going across the street to the corner store to get a cereal box to sweep the eggs up.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. It's tragic.
It's tragic, but it was just like this little slice of Americana. This kid who just like, he put his mind to it, dude. And it was like, what the bleep do we know? He just threw a rocket just on a rope, knocks this thing out of there. And like, you could see, like, in that instant moment, like, his chest pops. I was like, he just.
And your dad was like, little Jeffrey, get out there and play shortstop. Mr. and Mrs. Dahmer, you've raised a wonderful child.
I just remember my dad was like, he was always just trying to pump up every player. And like at that moment, this kid, was just kind of shrinking because these moms were yelling at him. And my dad was like, not today. Not today, not with this achievement.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad your dad had an outside
he saw that whole thing going on. He watched the kid struggle all year to just play catch.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to reward it on the spot. You're not going to tear this kid down for finally being able to physically impose his will for the first time ever on a diamond, off the diamond, actually. Yeah. I just always remember, I always loved the dads. Shout out to Brian Freezy. He's a podcaster. Pete Freezy was one of the greats, man. He was our coach later on, and just Pete had the pool. Pete was the cool dad. Yeah. He had like the snow cone machine.
Coke.
He'd always take us. I don't know about that.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that.
Allegedly.
I don't
even think allegedly.
I don't know. He was the fun dad, and like he was the fun coach. I remember we played a game out at Wilmore Park. It was a tournament. It was like 105 degrees. I'm catching. Mom's putting like cold ice towels on my neck and everything. I'm like, oh, this is nice. We end up winning this little tournament down at Wilmore, and we had one of those galvanized water buckets.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna drench the coach.
It's got like rusty edges.
6 of these kids try and all do it at the same time, so we're not on the same level. And just wham, cram the edge of this galvanized barrel into our coach's head. He's like, oh god, and then like Gatorade spills all over him as his eye just instantly grows a baseball on it.
And he's like, anyone have any ice?
It was like the end of the season party afterwards. We're all gonna go to the pool and hang out, and he's like, he reminds me a lot of Chris Farley. A lot of Chris Farley. Yeah, he was just a big jovial dude. And he's like cussing up a storm, and his face is swelling up, and he's like, whoa, party at my house. We're back to the pool party. And I remember him just like all the dads just like posting up around the pool. And like he's laying there with like ice on his on his head, like, you guys want some snow cones? Like the dads, dude. The dads were just so cool. And so much of that was revolved around us playing sports and the time dedication it takes as a parent, buddy. Like I'm always kind of getting down on myself. Like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not involving my son in enough stuff. Like, I need to get it because my schedule was always packed.
Oh,
and I mean, it really, I mean, you guys can clearly see it. It definitely developed my own self-centric world where it was like everything worked around my schedule. You get it, Steve. You get it. Except for this time, we're working around your schedule.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to be on from 8 to 10 p.m. on Friday nights. We're going to try it out for a little while. New little time slot. I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. Just a shout out to all of our dads, man.
Yeah, you know, and the stuff dad's got to go through. Oliver's getting ready to start soccer. He's playing for Scott Gallagher, so I'll have to root against him, which I'm having a few emotions about, not many. So we'll get through that. But I remember, you know, like you were saying with the dads, just like never missing a practice and always being there and seeing the guy who struggled. And when he gets a hit, it's like, yeah. And I'll never forget, we had a coach who played lineman for the Packers and the St. Louis Football Cardinals.
Okay.
Just a steed,
a monster of a man.
And we were pretty good family friends. And shout out to the Gunnings. They're awesome. But I remember after a game, we were all kind of messing around and playing football and throwing around. And my dad is still one of the fastest dudes around. Like, he would race us. He would pull the car over if we got him to, like, we're faster than you, George. He'd be like, no, I'll pull the car over and I will outrun all three of you 16-year-olds right now. My dad is lightning quick, man. I still don't think I'm as fast as him. So anyway, so we're at this game and my dad's running routes. And this football player throws him a pass and he lays out for it and dislocates his shoulder. And he's just like, floomp, because he had like shoulders that dislocated all the time. And he's like, I'm good. But it's kind of muddy out there. And we're like, okay. So my dad, God bless his soul, you know, he's over there kind of icing it up. He's ready. He'd probably go run a couple more routes or whatever. So the dads are sitting over there. Well, the kids get this harebrained idea that mud puddle that my dad kind of was near, we're going to go dive in it. So of course I'm first.
Naturally.
I head first dive into this mud and I hear my dad's like, just like a guttural noise. Mind you, my dad is recently divorced and he doesn't have a washer and dryer at this point. And I'm in a tournament, a 3-day tournament, and this is Friday. And I have just ruined my jersey. And he's like, what are you thinking? And I find myself asking that to my sons all the time. Like, what went through your head to think that this would be an okay thing? Like, I never forget Oliver about 3 or 4 years ago took like a pencil or something and jabbed holes into our pumpkin. You know, like, you keep your pumpkin for a while and then you're like, I'm going to carve it 3 days before Halloween so it doesn't wilt. So we did that and we go to carve it 3 days before. And the thing is just like,
rotted out.
Mash it in. Like, we can just slap it. And we're like, we got a bad pumpkin. This is ridiculous. And Oliver's just over there and he's like 4 or 5 at the time. And he's like, yeah, just,
hey, what's the deal with the pumpkin?
that's a bad pumpkin, I guess. And we see all these pierce holes in it. I'm like, this thing's got holes in it. I think he actually came clean. Oliver's just he
can't help it.
Yeah, no, he's like, I did something.
Good for him. It's a great way to live.
And so I wonder, I'm like, what is going through your head? But as a dad, I still try to think, oh, I get it, man. I get it.
I find myself in that position often. Like, you know, there's some things and it's a tough thing to balance because as a dad, you don't want to hurt your kids. Like, you don't want to hurt the way they think or anything, like by imposing your will, you know, and you see little mess ups and you're like, in the grand scheme of things, like, this is pretty small potatoes. But if you also don't introduce that discipline, like, those small potatoes can turn big real quick. So like, it's this balance of you pick your battles, you know, of where they're learning something and growing from something. And then you're also, you know, gotta kind of draw a line. Clearly it's a tough road to walk. What's that? Guys,
there's our music, baby. It's time to say goodbye.
It is time to say goodbye
to our lads and dads episode. Man, is it been 2 hours already?
We got a lot of stuff going on, but I think I should break the news. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Hoosier Cotillion, July 19th through the 21st. We're going to let the alumni know a little bit sooner than everybody else. We want to give everybody a shot that was there last year a chance to get on board this year. Then we'll open it up to the public. We're capping it at 40, maybe 35 or 36. I might catch a wild hair and just really, really decimate this thing because it's nice having it real intimate.
That's your game.
It's going to be the tickets are going to go on sale. They will sell fast. This was the FOMO moment of the year last year. Everybody that did miss out on it really felt that.
It was
and everybody that went, we made a lot of friends. You know, it was a loving time in the woods. So July 19th through 21st. Next week, we're on 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Next Thursday, we got Hoosier Hookie Day. Thursday at 2 p.m. O'Shea's in the Grove. We're going to go live. We're going to have some fun. We're going to watch the ball game. Home opener. We're going to have a good old time.
Hockey season. Keep it. We got a game tonight. If anyone can let me know.
Our sponsors, Missouri Medical Cannabis Company, MoMedCanco.com. Enter HOSO at checkout. Get 15% off everything site-wide. Get some massage oil. Get some hemp honey. Get the best quality hemp product you can on the market. MoMedCanco.com. James Carlton State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net. Lifetime Roofing.
Roof?
Just go Google them. If you need exterior work done, you need some roof work done, give Lifetime Roofing a shout. Tower Classic Tattooing in the Grove. Parlor STL. Awesome guys. Get down in the Grove. It's a hopping neighborhood. We always have a blast. Next week, new time, 8 to 10. Going to have some fun on 420. Project 422 is putting on a little Cannabis 101 at the VFW 3944 up on Midland. Go check it out, guys. It's going to be an awesome time. We love you.
I do.
Be well, St. Louis.
Take control of your money. Start by listening to The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you want to win with money, let me give you a good idea. Figure out what most people